Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Testimonies and Receipts. And we have such an amazing guest here. And I cannot wait for you guys all to join in on the conversation because we have my girl, the one and only Lashay Price. Hello.
Hi, friend.
Hello, friend. How are you?
Tired, but I'm great.
What's been going on? Please share. We want to share why you're tired.
So, school starts this week. So, I have been in full swing of getting my soon to be 11th grader off to a new school. And my daughter is about to be a rising freshman in college, and she moves in on Saturday. And so things in our house have been chaotic, I think, between school shopping and prepping to help her move in, and then also processing the fact that my oldest is going out to college. Like it's been a lot, but it's been good stuff. So I'm like been chugging out Red Bulls today.
Plus, all the fantastic things that we get to see Lashay do. A lot of you guys may know, may not know, but we're going to find out today who Lashay is and where God has her. She is my devoted sister in Christ. So I'm incredibly proud of you first. Let's just say that juggling motherhood, juggling wife, and juggling a whole new house and all the things. We're proud of the girls. We're so proud of the girls. And then pretty soon you're going to be an empty nester. So I know that's a lot to process. But lean on to your Lord and Savior, your Father, that you
Absolutely.
know very well.
Yes.
Because he's going to get you through this season of your life.
Thank
So Lashay, like, who's Lashay? Who's
Oh
Lashay?
God.
And how did we meet?
Oh God, that's a loaded question. And I knew I was like, Shahira didn't send me like any questions to prep. She didn't ask me for my bio. And that is honestly one area that I feel like I struggle the most with, like telling people who I am. And especially in the season, as God is like pivoting me to do new things. I, I think sometimes we think that we have to have this, we have to have titles of who we are and what we do, and that was one thing that I personally struggled with, like for a very long time, like who am I? And I think we think about it from a standpoint of a professional stance, like who are you professionally? Um, but one of the things that I've learned, and I'm learning to lean in, I am honestly just a multifaceted woman of God who is walking this journey of just honestly just pure obedience and just allowing the Lord to open the doors and guide me through whatever the next chapter may be. So, in a nutshell, I am a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a multifaceted creative. I spent several years in marketing in corporate America, if we wanted to get the corporate background, before pivoting out and going full time as a photographer, a branding photographer, opening up a studio space, um, but also the person that just always had this passion for interior design, and the person who's real life watching the Lord actually allow a vision that he gave me almost 16 years ago actually come full circle. So, multifaceted, creative, woman of God, honestly, just on a journey of just being obedient. That's the best introduction or explanation of who I am that I could possibly give.
I feel like it's the best one. It's the best one because being obedient is what's key. We were just talking about that. That's the truth. Faith is being
Yes.
obedient. That's where you're gonna definitely your life is gonna thrive when you are obedient.
Yes.
So, Lachey, how did we meet?
Oh, we met, what was it? Well, I'm gonna say 4 years
Yeah,
ago. I'm gonna
yeah.
say 4 years ago, because my studio space has been closed for maybe like 2.5, 3 years now.
Yeah.
We were at a women's conference. I was
Hmm.
speaking, I think we both were speaking on a panel,
Hmm.
and we ended up just having this sidebar conversation in the lobby for like 2 hours. Honestly, the entire conference, when we either were not on stage or Shahira was not at her table vending,
Yeah.
we were literally in the hallway, like real time, like chatting with each other, like we've known each other for forever.
I know that was, and it's a full circle now because I remember us talking. You were just like, I want to do more speaking engagements, and here I go, Lachey, you want to be on my podcast? Like, and then we
Crazy.
build this like sisterhood, and even in that transition, I wasn't even, I would say, like, I was coming back to the faith, but not even in the faith like that. And this woman just came in and just disrupted everything in that hallway. And I said, oh my God, I absolutely love her. I need her near. I don't know who she is, but she's in my life and she's about to stay here because I love her. I love
And
her, love her,
likewise.
love her. It does. I don't even remember the
I don't even
conversation.
remember what our conversations were about.
I
To be,
just felt like it was a divine appointment. And
yes,
I felt like if I could recall back, definitely the Holy Spirit was there. The angels
yes.
were there, the Holy Spirit was there. Because when I tell you guys, it was like me and Lachey, and you could tell like people coming in and out, but it was like no one was
Was no,
distracting us. It was like our
nobody.
own little world. I was just like, and no one's gonna come up and no one's gonna say nothing.
Nobody said anything. Like we literally occupied the hallway for at least a good solid hour and 30 minutes. And to this day, like you said, I have no idea what our conversation was about, but it was clearly a divine appointed conversation because we stood there for like an hour and 30 minutes. Like first
Yeah,
time we've
talking
ever
about
met.
life. I think we were talking about, photography, life, business. We talked about everything,
We
like what
talked
we're
about
about to talk
everything.
about right now.
Crazy.
The vision, the purpose that God, since we are on testimonies and receipts, let's talk about the testimony. Let's talk about Lachey and like this, like the woman that we see now. If people knew you back then, how would you even believe if future you went back there and said, "This Lachey, this is who you're going to become. This is like where God is going to change you in your life and every like mind blowing."
What would I believe? Yes, just because of my personal receipts that
Yeah.
I have and just how like I've watched like God just do just honestly a lot of unthinkable things in my journey. I am 39 and I became a mom at, we're gonna say 20, 19, 20. I got pregnant at 19, became a mom at 20. And over the course of those years, my daughter is now, there's 16 and 18. And honestly, my entire journey, I was just telling somebody, actually, I was just telling my husband this recently. We were in Greenville several months ago, and it was like the first time that like my daughter, my oldest daughter, was like officially driving by herself. So we had just recently purchased her a new car, and my husband and I, we were in Greenville car shopping, and her and her sister were back home, but they were going on a quote unquote lunch date on a Saturday. And this was the first time that they had actually been out driving solo. Like it was like the weekend before school where they would have been driving to school together. And I remember my husband and I were pulling up to some, I think it was the at home store in Greenville. And like we're driving separate cars because we're there car shopping for me. And I knew I was coming back with a car. So he pulls up behind me and I'm sobbing, crying when he pulls up and he's like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, I think I had a moment personally where I started to self-reflect like on motherhood and like how I became a mom at 19, 20, and how when we think about, or for me, when I thought about motherhood and all the sacrifices that I made as a mom and how I walked fully into the assignment of being a mother at such a young age, it made me realize just how motherhood for some people at that age would have broke them, but motherhood did not break me. So that moment leading into what you're saying, like, would you have saw yourself like, walking into the season that you're in? Absolutely. Every journey, every door that has opened from the time that I became a mom up until this season of my life has been me giving God my yes and watching God literally do the unthinkable with it, from becoming a first time homeowner at 25 as a single mom, barely making probably $12 an hour with two kids, miles away from her family, to opening up a studio. Well, actually, I opened up my studio because I got furloughed from COVID. I'm at furloughed from corporate America because of COVID. Um, and then the Lord was just literally just aligning things. And even when I got the assignment to close the studio in 2023, I think, yes, I would say yes, I would see myself in walking into these seasons, but I just never knew how and when, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, every season of my life, like, I can stand on the fact that God was going to do and open every door that He's shown me. I just never knew when and the how. And like, this season of my life is literally like mind blowing. Like, I was just telling my kid's father, who God just kind of like restored that relationship with us, just how
Glory to God on that. I just got to say that. Glory to God. Oh my God. That's a whole testimony within itself. My God. Okay, go ahead.
okay. And so even with that, like, I was telling him recently, we were having a conversation how for so many years the Lord showed me that I would be in interior design, like, so vividly. Like, it was HGTV, it was all the things. Um, but so many things that I've done professionally, I never knew how they would align or be connected to the next. Even with photography, I never learned photography to be a photographer. I learned photography because of the vision that the Lord showed me with me being on HGTV. And my husband and I, we were avid DIYers. We were building furniture. We were making stuff for our house. Like, I was doing the table skates. Like, I was doing everything. And I learned photography so that I would not have to constantly hire a photographer. And then because people start seeing your work and it's like, oh, well, I'll pay you to do XYZ. And it just kind of like, oh, you gonna pay me? Okay, cool. Not realizing that I was pushing the vision that the Lord was giving me on the back burner. But honestly, like, God's timing is still always his timing is still always so much better than ours. And honestly, in retrospect, years ago, if I had really pursued interior design then, I wouldn't have been ready. I wouldn't have learned, and I wouldn't have known all the things that I know now in my journey. So it's like all interconnected, but still, when he gave me that vision years ago, like, photography came. But I was telling my kids, biological father, how in this season I wasn't looking or even pursuing or even thinking about being an interior designer. I decided with spring break that this is going to be the one spring break that we do not travel
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to stay home. And that is very, very, very different for us because we cherish time together. But literally, that spring break, this past April, I made that commitment. We're not going anywhere. We just moved. We're going to focus on the kids, getting the girls' rooms up to par. And that was it. And I kid you not, Shahira, over by that Friday, I was getting a call from a friend, and she had just went in and did some signages for a law firm. And she says, "Hey, sis, they're asking me about desks and wall art and all this different stuff, and I don't know that. I just know branding. I know print. I know how to, print signages, but girl, I don't know nothing about furniture. And she was like, I don't know where God has you. And to be honest, like, God didn't have me anywhere. God has literally had me in a season of being still and surrendering all this year. So I had stopped doing photography. The clients that I did have on my books, I was refunding them their money back. Like, I have literally, for the bulk of towards the end of 2024, and honestly for the vast majority of 2025, I've honestly just have surrendered my life. I've been present, and I've just really just have been leaning in and being obedient to hearing God say, photography has served you well, but photography is becoming a thing that you can do with your eyes closed, and it's blocking you from really receiving what it is that I'm trying to do through you. And that was really hard because for me, photography is money.
Mm-hmm.
That is how I contribute to our household. But in February, I literally, like, I made that decision. I'm walking away from it. At the time, we had just sold our house, or sold my first house. And the Lord allowed me to have enough cushion to where I could say, over the next 3 months, I am going to be still. I am going to surrender. Like, I'm not going to like have my hands dabbling here and dabbling there. And in that, I learned a lot about myself. But in that, I think if I had not committed to the season of surrender, I would have missed the opportunity when my friend called to say, "Hey, I don't know where God has you. I don't even know if I know you're good at interior design. I know you've talked about the vision that the Lord has shown you for being an interior designer, but I don't know where you are because I know you're in this season of like pause, but can you just come and tell me, just come look at his face and tell me what you're feeling, and if you think it's something that the Lord would like give his yes on you doing." And I did. And it immediately, when I went in, I was like, whoa, what in the world? Aesthetically, the space was stunning. I just don't love interior. Like, I love textures. I love all the things, right? And it was just like I can honestly just feel like the Lord like breathing, like, and
Oh,
saying like,
wow.
yes, like this is it. So I came home, and mind you, I've I've done maybe one commercial interior design project,
Mhm.
but I don't have a portfolio outside of my own personal stuff and outside of what other people know creatively Lashay could possibly do, right? And so I came home and I sat down, and I remember this day my husband was home, and him and his cousin were outside working in the yard, and this was a weekday. And the Lord was like, you will not devalue yourself. I know
Mhm.
that like you don't have the portfolio, or you feel like you don't have the resume, but the price is the price. Create the proposal, send it over, and just leave it there.
Yep.
So I remember going outside and telling my husband, I was like, hey, like, I went on site. This would be the perfect project. I was like, but it's no way. And the attorney, he was a guy. I was like, there is no way, like, he's gonna accept this proposal. Not for this number. Mm-mm. No way. And I was like, well, why are you doubting yourself? And I was like, it's not that I'm doubting myself, but the number that I sent him in this proposal,
It's
there ain't no way.
astronomical.
There's no way. Like there's literally no way he would pay my design fees and still pay for the every other moving part, like his decor, furniture, everything. And Shahira, I kid you not, within 5 minutes, he had paid the invoice.
That it's only God. Like when you move he calls the unqualified qualified, and you are literally, I think that's the title of this whole entire thing. It always comes up when you're in the midst of it. You are the definition of calling the unqualified qualified because you
Yes.
didn't go to school for X, Y, and Z, and you guys, please, you have to see. I even want to be at the law office. It makes somebody feel, because when you go into law offices, you're already like, yo, I'm dreading whatever. Number one, I gotta pay whatever
Yep.
I want to do. Like, I'm already dreading it. And that place, you just took what you do in photography, your vibrantness, and just put it even in this design. I mean, I already seen the other one that you're doing, and I was like, it's Lashay. Like, but that, it made it inviting. It makes you want to be there. It actually it makes you like, because of the colors that you chose, it makes you happy to
Yes.
actually be in a law office. Like, that's
Yes.
wild to
It was
me.
crazy. Like it's been crazy just to see like how the Lord took what I've been doing in marketing and branding all these years and like tie it into this project. The feels, the emotions, like all the things that I always teach and talk to my clients
Mm-hmm.
about. And honestly, like it all intertwines into like commercial branding because as a law firm who handles a lot of personal injuries, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was very intentional about like how I could curate a space that soothed and made
Mm-hmm.
his clients feel comfortable. And I think that just goes back to speak to how there's a lot of seasons that we walk in and there's a lot of work that we do from season to season that we have no idea how they're interconnected, which is why it's so important when you are on an assignment. And even though the assignment and the journey that you're in may not be where you personally desire to be, always interconnected to something else.
It's preparation, right? Like, it's all like everything that you went through really was preparation, but also that stuff in your toolbox. You
Yes.
could pull that out whenever you need to. And
Yes.
I think that's so dope. But we sit there sometimes like, why am I in this job? Why am I going through this? It's our perspective. Think about it like, what am I doing? And I think that's kind of what we talked about in our 2 hour session in the hallway. Was now it's clicking back to me because I was like, yo, I'm in the same boat. Like, doing makeup wasn't my first choice. It was never
Never.
my choice. Meeting and connecting with clients. First of all, being in retail, I was like, I gotta get out of retail sometime quick. I gotta get out of here. But if I was never in retail, never worked with all different facets of clients, never had the professionalism, because that's all I heard once I started doing makeup professionally was, you're so professional. You know how to be on time, you know how to do certain things that other makeup artists don't know how to do. Is because I spent all this time preparing for this moment right here. And
Yes.
now I'm in all this moment of the Lord has me using my voice on a podcast that I'm like, what? What?
But it's all preparation. Like one of the things that I have learned, and I actually think I made a post on Facebook, or I may have like recorded a video, honestly, just recently, very impromptu, but it was talking about how there is no season in your life that's wasted. Like
Mm.
none of it is ever wasted. That was actually the video. The Lord put it on my heart. So I did. I recorded a video and I posted it to, I think, to Instagram and Facebook. But that day when I posted that, it was really just talking about the receipts of God. Like there is absolutely no season of your life is wasted. Like the good, the bad, the ugly, like the highs, the lows, where you are spiritually, where you are professionally. Like honestly, for me, they have all been interconnected to each other somehow. And I think sometimes we are waiting for the Lord to get us to whatever finish line that we want to be at instead of just being present and living in the season that you're in. And I was just telling somebody that, like, I was telling my husband that I was like, even for me with these projects that are popping up left and right with interior. I'm no longer in this season or this space of feeling like I got to go start a business. I'm not starting a business as an interior designer because the Lord hasn't told me to. Just because I have people that are hiring me, I'm not gonna go and just start a business. I'm honestly just allowing the Lord to like really guide me. And I think sometimes we're so adamant about trying to get to the finish line or whatever the end goal is that we feel like it may be, that we do all these extra things in the in between that the Lord don't even tell us to do. And we
You
get out of alignment, you
you
know?
hear, and I know this will probably be comments and some stuff because you hear the Lord like so well. Like you know him. You know our dad. Okay? Because when he tells you to jump, the jump don't even like take 2 days before you're jumping. Like it'll take people years. It'll take people months. How did you get to a point where you like, I know his voice and I gotta be obedient. Like, and I just gotta go.
I think for me, it came through my journey of being a single mom.
Mm,
As a single mom, my entire dependency was on the Lord guiding me because it honestly was something that I just honestly just couldn't do by myself. I relocated, like, honestly, not far, but far enough. Like, I didn't have support. I moved, like, I would say about an hour and 30 minutes away from my family to a city. I had nobody here. And I think in that, I just learned to not lean on my own understanding and really just to let the Lord lead me in everything, like every single thing. And I think that my life is a byproduct of Shay not getting in her own way. And
mm,
I know to some people, like, they think that that's crazy. I laugh with my husband and I share with him, like, visions that the Lord has given me. And I'm
mm-hmm.
like, just trust me. Just trust me. And I know, like, to some people, they're like, girl, like, what? And I know even for him, like, he has been able to see the work of the Lord just through our lives together in our time of being married. Like, even with, like, buying this house, like, when you really talk about, like, receipts, like, baby, we got receipts. But the receipt, like, I guess I gave my life to Christ in middle school. So I have personally, like, lived out a journey that has honestly been very non-traditional to the people that I do life with or have done life with. I very early on made a lot of lifestyle changes as far as the people who I do life with, my circle. It meant that I had to turn and end some relationships and friendships that honestly just weren't conducive to the season and where the Lord was taking me. But I do think that that has played a part in it, like really, really, really played a big part and getting to the point where if y'all really, really knew my story of how I became a mom at 20, and even before I became a mom at 20, like when I graduated from high school, like before I got pregnant, I
Mm-hmm.
literally had hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarship dollars to go to college,
Mm-hmm.
like first generational college student. Like it just didn't start. It started a long, like a very long time ago. So I think I got to a point where I could be obedient because I had a track record of what I had already saw the Lord do for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you had the evidence and you had the receipt that was printed out, and you were just like, this is what it is.
But
I keep on going back, and I don't know, like the Holy Spirit is prompting me to go back to my favorite story of. There's many stories. People are gonna just have to follow you, but this one, please share with the people about. Oh, I'm like, do we start with that one or do we start with Can you share about like losing, not even losing, just I'm just gonna say the studio. Tell us
okay.
the studio testimony. Tell us.
Oh God, the studio. Okay, so as a photographer, God, it's crazy because even with a studio, before there was ever a studio, I'll just say this. I can recall that my journey, even as a mom, has honestly just been like very unorthodox. I worked in corporate, but every corporate position that I've ever had, the Lord had told me years ago, like, you will be a stay-at-home mom. Very clear.
Wow.
But even before that, like, my kids used to go to work with me, like every job that I've ever had. Like I did marketing for a retirement community. So every facility that I was at, my kids at a very young age were volunteering, calling bingo, girl, in the residents' weddings as flower girls. Like that's just I don't even know how I made it through corporate at the time I was a single mom, but it worked out because every corporate job I have had, my kids have been there, like there. And you know how hard it is to be a mom,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Working in somebody's corporate office. But I said that to say, when I started to lean into my creative gifts, the Lord had shown me that I would have a studio or a commercial space. And I remember making a post. At the time, there was no photography. There was Shay who was making stuff like wreaths and sewing and scarves and monograms and like all the things. Like that is honestly how I started out creatively.
Wow.
And I remember going into the mall, one of the malls here in Columbia years ago. I want to think it was probably 2014 because the post is actually still in my Facebook. It was a kiosk by the food court in Dutch Square Mall. I think that's what it is. But I recall the post on my Facebook where it was, this will be the future. This will be my future studio. I wasn't even a photographer then. It was a
Wow.
seed that was planted off of a vision that the Lord had shown me. Fast forward, I'm working in corporate. This was right before COVID. And I remember it was November, I'm going to say November. COVID happened, what, 2020?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think COVID happened 2020. So this would have been like November 2019. In Lexington, there was an open space. I remember calling my husband and I'm like, there, because I would take this path to work every day. There's a space, it's perfect for a studio. I can rent it, I can do photos there, I can rent it out to other photographers. And at the time, I'm in corporate, I'm miserable. I had really just started dabbling in photography, and the Lord had honestly just given me the vision to pivot from just shooting whatever to taking my corporate experience and focusing in branding. So this was November 2019, right? So I take my husband, we look at the space, and he's like, I don't know how you're going to make this work. And I was like, well, I'm just going to trust the Lord. He was like, Shay, he was like, I don't know, I need to think about it. And I remember having a conversation with my father-in-law, and I was telling him about it, and he was like, listen, I'll support you, but I'm not going to overstep my son, essentially. So this was over that weekend. That Monday, I get to work, and the landlord for the space called me, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, hey, I have several other people who are interested in the space. Are you interested? Called my husband. I was like, hey, do you believe in the vision that the
Oh,
Lord has given
goodness.
me? And he was like, Shay, like, I believe, but I don't know. And Shahira, I kid you not, we stayed on the phone for 30 minutes. And by the time I gave my husband like the whole plan of how I could make it work, the whole plan. And I kid you not, by the time he said, because my father-in-law was going to give me the money.
Mm. Come on,
By
favor.
the by the time my husband said yes, the landlord texted me back and was like, sorry, somebody just dropped off their deposit. I was
Because it wasn't meant
so,
to be. And I
but in
know.
my mind, like I honestly was crushed. Like, so that was November 2019. Fast
Mm-hmm.
forward to 2020, COVID.
Mm-hmm.
COVID hits, and before COVID hit, my husband was so heartbroken that he didn't say yes fast enough. So he turned one of our rooms in our house upstairs to a studio. Then COVID hit because now people can't come in my house because of COVID. So, so you fast forward, COVID starts to taper down, and I had made a promise. I said I will never, ever, ever mention a studio. Never, because I felt like my husband had crushed my dreams. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I said I would never
So you
mention.
felt like
So
it
you felt
was
like it was
like his fault, like he took too long.
yeah.
So that,
So that
mm,
girl, I was like, I would never like. I feel like it was like ultimate dream crusher. Like, I'll never mention anything about a studio space. Like, especially if he doesn't see the vision. No, I'm not. Never. So during COVID, um, I got furloughed in May.
mm-hmm.
So May of 2020, couldn't go out to the hospitals to market. A lot of uh, a lot of families weren't putting their families in like assisted livings because of COVID or whatever. And I remember hearing my husband say, the day that I got furloughed, it was like, okay, well, the only thing that makes more sense is to be a photographer and to open up a studio. But I would never mention that. And I remember him saying, Shay, there are a lot of commercial spaces that are open because of COVID, and a lot of these landlords are not getting rent. And I think that you should look into a space. And I was like, what?
So
Like,
he actually brought it up.
yep, he brought it up. That is how I ended up actually looking for a studio space. Found the first space, fell in love with it. My mother-in-law, she's a general contractor, so the first space it would have been perfect. Like I remember it to this day. And like the lady was kind of like stereotyping, like it was a whole like racial
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. And something told me to go on Craigslist, went on Craigslist, and that's how I found the space that I was at. I get there, price is way lower, and still, now mind you, I'm furloughed from my job. I'm not getting any unemployment at all. Like I got furloughed in May. I didn't get unemployment from this job until October of that year. Finds a space, and I did have a little bit of money, and I remember that night my father-in-law called me and he was like, come over here tomorrow and pick up a check. And I was just like, what? So long story short, this space, my father-in-law, um, Lord rest his soul, was a retired principal. And we had had many conversations about what it would have looked like if, because his father was a photographer. So
Oh,
we had had many conversations about what it would look like if he had, not went the educational track and like pursued the thing that he wanted to pursue or pursue the things that he enjoyed or whatever. So he honestly was one of my biggest like investors in the space. So fast forward, we had invested about 10 grand in this space. 10 grand. Blood monetarily, and then you talking about blood, sweat, and tears. My husband, our children, all of this to get in this space together. So I officially opened up the space November 2020, and I kid you not, December 2020, the Lord was telling me to let it go. I was just like, what? He was like, yeah, let it go. Like my lease wasn't up. I signed a 3-year lease. My lease wasn't up until technically October of the following year.
I
And
remember when you told me this, I cried.
I cried
I
too.
I cried because I was like, wait, and that's a testament, like for me, because at that point, I don't think I was like hearing God the way that I do now, and that was like, wait, but your leap
Yeah.
of faith, man, your
He was
leap of
like,
faith
let
was,
it go, like close it. And what's crazy is I remember calling my landlord and I was like, Cal, I was like, I feel like the Lord is telling me to let my space go. And I know my lease isn't up. And he was like, well, pray about it. He was a man of faith too. He was
And
like,
that's
well,
always amazing.
it made it so much better. And he was like, pray about it and let me know. And January rolled around and the Lord said, do it. And I did. And I remember my last day in the studio was it was like February the 6th. But before that, everything in the studio, I sold everything. And everything in that studio sold within 5 minutes. I didn't
Yeah.
even have to I literally left. I didn't take anything back. But the part that did it for me was my last day in the studio was a Saturday. It was like Saturday, February the 6th. A
Mm-hmm.
week later, I'm about to get on a discovery call with a client, and a lady that I know who used to come and get her nails done next to the studio,
Look at
and
that.
a lady that I know from I've done like speaking engagements and different things alongside her calls me and she says, where does the Lord have you in this season? And I
Again.
said, we're just out here just trusting the Lord. And she was like, if you had the opportunity to go back in the workforce, would
Sorry, I can't hear you. It just like, something went out. I think it's Did the mic go out? Maybe the mic went out. Is it charged? I can't hear you. I'm just reading lips at this point. It might be the I don't know. What do you think it might be? Because her mic just like went off. Switch the audio to your computer, or if the dead mic. No, no, the mic is on. What if the mic is on? It just needs to connect to the computer. So like your Bluetooth and reconnect to the. Okay, it gave me a heads up that your recording just stopped for some reason due to media disconnect. What should I do? So due to media disconnect. Oh, that's weird. That is weird. Chat with support. Nah, needs me to chat with support. Media disconnect.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm connecting. I'm trying to connect back to my Bluetooth. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened at
It
all.
still sounds good though.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll leave that be.
Yeah, it still is good.
I mean, I'm on my iMac, so
And now I forgot.
no, you're good. I can pick back up. But yeah,
Okay, okay.
I get this call and
Well,
she's
that's
like, what would it take for you to like take a job? And I'm like, take a job. But what was so crazy, the morning before she called me, I literally had just had a conversation with my husband that said, I feel like by the time you come home from work today, our lives will like be changed.
out of your
What?
mouth. I was just saying, like, we have to start speaking more life out of our mouth, because the more we speak more life out of our mouth, things are just going to happen.
Yes, and it was crazy. Like it was so crazy. And when she called me, I was like, "Listen, like I gotta call you back. Like I'm about to do a discovery call with a client. Like I'll call you back." And so I remember calling her back, and she was like, would you come and be my brand director for this company called Fearless Fun, which essentially at the time, I guess they still operate, I'm not sure. But Fearless Fun was this global brand. It was a twofold. One fold was a venture capitalist company that invested in women of color. And then the second side of the company was a nonprofit that provided grants and educational support for women of color, which was crazy because as a branding photographer, the vast majority of the clients that I served were faith-based women of color. And
Mm-hmm.
I think what was so crazy was how it happened, and that door that opened up just from simply being obedient and
when the Lord told me to close my studio. Shahira, there is no way that when that call came through about that position, and when I tell you, there is no way that I would have been able to run a studio, be a branded photographer, and lead as the head creative. And I'm talking about everything from like putting together a summit. Like I was the complete creative, left, right, frontal lobe, every lobe of of this brand. I traveled, like I had to get my passport, like we were going to Africa, like we were going like to Costa Rica, like
Mhm.
this was the magnitude of the door that the Lord had opened. Like I'm in rooms with like Cam Newton, like leading
Right.
behind the scene press interviews for Essence. Like it was crazy. But
Mhm.
there is no way that if I had not said yes and been obedient with closing my studio space, that I would have even been prepared to take that opportunity. Like, it's no way.
I
Like,
feel
no
like
way.
your hands are always like this to the Lord, and they're always open, and then he just like leads you. You're always in like rooms and spaces that like even with me, I just feel like the ministry was just there because you're just talking to me like normal, and your life is a living testimony, like your life, period. So like if I don't know you for 2.5 seconds, just like everybody on who's gonna watch this, right? They don't know you, right? So they're listening to you and they're like, all right, cool. Now they're going on your social media and they're really about to figure out who you are and really figure out like she's a living testimony. Like God is just working through her. It's literally giving like another Esther. You don't see God in Esther, but God is there moving through Esther the entire time of that story. And it's so like it's so incredible to just watch you and just that's one of my favorite stories. There's more. There's more stories, but that one right there, cause I said we all were just like when you told me that, I said, oh my God, this is a movie. What are we doing now? Like I felt like so I was like, "What are we doing now? Where are we going? Like, what is happening?" And I will pull up something that's like really sentimental because through a very dark time of my life, in which a lot of people on this podcast knows, and my testimony, I still have something that Lashay wrote to me through a really really dark time, and that's when we came to the studio. And at that time, I was doing a vision board uh
Yes.
the vision board method, but now it's like the prayer board. The Lord, they don't ask me, don't even bring it up, y'all, because he, like Lashay said, he has not said to do anything else but to do a podcast. That's all he said.
Yes.
So we're being obedient because we can get sidetracked. Okay.
Absolutely.
Lashay texted me in 2023 and she was like, because of your vision board method, you helped me see what God sees in me. When I tell you, I was in a fetal position on my couch before you take crying. Why am I going through this? Or just looking at all the negative and like healing, and just when you text that, I said, "Oh my God, like, it's just a vision." But like I'm like, this lady has everything like together. Why did my vision board like? But when you said God see me, and that's not the first time somebody has said like you helped me see what God sees in me.
Hmm.
Like, and that's a push to keep going, to keep
Yes.
on being encouragement and community. I feel like when we found each other, it was just like a sisterhood and community to like keep us
Going.
going, keep us
Yes.
because even I could remember just our conversations on you being a single mom. It helped me, Lashay. It helped me be like, okay, if Lashay could do it, I can do it. I want to get emotional right now, but I'm like, Lord, cover the tears.
Because
I
I
don't want
think
them
a
to
lot
come
of
out. Let me
people
just
don't.
get this out because it's so true when you see someone go through something, when you hear something like this, and then you're just like, dang, I can keep going.
Mhm.
Because look at her life. Like, look at my life. Look at the life that God has built to. powerful, and then we can grab all the other people to be like, yo, you can keep on doing this even though you're a single mom, even
Yeah.
though, and then look, you find love in the midst of it. You've been with your husband for so many years.
Yeah.
He's taken in, because you have two daughters,
Yep.
one is his and then one is not.
No,
Neither are his. Okay,
neither.
I had to go back to
Neither.
and
Neither.
he just open arm was like, you would think those are his girls, y'all. Like, the girls are
Um,
blessed. They got two daddies,
they
three, with the
literally,
Lord. Like,
it's so crazy because I I literally have been or was a single mom. My
was,
husband and
yes.
I, like we next year, next April, we would be married 10 years. Together 13, 14 years. So when he met my girls, or when he came into my girls' life, they were like 5 and 3 at the time. And my girls honestly never really had a relationship with their biological father. Ever, ever. Honestly, up until recently. Like, when I say recently, like last year.
I'm
Recently.
like, I'm just so, that's another subject that we got to touch on another time. We
Yeah.
just got to have that conversation with them, because
Yeah.
like that right there is, you guys just seen where you're taking, long, like the prayer has been probably since he wasn't present until now, and look how long, or you know what I mean, just it's the timing, it's the divine
Yeah.
timing on when that is. But I'm so grateful, like, now,
Yeah.
like, okay, thank you, because now the girls are embarking on like their womanhood, their families, and
Yeah.
like now you all can be a part of that. All the grandchildren that might come into play, all the, significant others, and now it just like it's perfect. It's just perfect timing, honestly. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect timing. I think more than anything with my journey, even with being a single mom and watching and living out and living in all the things that the Lord has done. I think even more now, like watching the Lord honestly restore their relationship. Um, and even not realizing that even through all of the good things that the Lord was doing, that even for me, I still had deep down hurt and unresolved things that I had not really dealt with or may have suppressed, like through that relationship that my kids did not have. And honestly, like a couple weeks ago, where he was, I want to get the girls, I want to take them here, I want to do that. Like, what do I do? Like, I don't want to mess this up anymore. The Lord put me in a position to be the person to be like a therapist to him.
wow,
Like, it was crazy, but in it, one of the things that I got from it was, I'm sorry for what I did to you,
wow, look
right?
at that.
So I
Mm,
think like for me, like everything in my journey, like I am who I am because I have allowed the Lord to walk with me every step of the way. Like just being obedient and surrendering. And that's just my prayer has always been to inspire the next woman, the single mom, the woman who got pregnant at a young age, that regardless of how your story starts or whatever your story looks like, it's not the end. Like, you just have to surrender and get out of your own way. And it's just honestly has just always been my prayer, is really just to allow my life and the test I want my life to be a testament to
mhm.
other women, that if you trust the Lord, that this is what it looks like. It may not look the exact same. He may not open the same doors for you that he opened for me, but the doors that he has promised for you, if you trust him, he will open. So that's just
Yeah,
always been my personal prayer of why I
yeah.
show up and why I do what I do and why I'm so passionate about all the many things that, I'm passionate about.
Yeah. So before we leave, I do throw a last minute question. Of course I do. So let me get my
Oh, Lordy.
I had it pulled up, but unfortunately I had to go, I have a whole list of what people have told me back then. All right. Um you can pick a number between 1 and 13, but you can't pick 7 or 8.
I hear 6.
You want 6?
Yes.
Okay. So, you're going to finish this statement. God is
Whew. I'm going to say all knowing.
yeah, that I am. That's it, y'all. That's it.
That's it. All know. He's all knowing.
Thank you, Lashay. Thank you, my
You're
friend. Thank you, my beautiful
welcome.
sister, for being on this podcast.
You're
I
welcome.
always love hearing your story. Could replay over and over, and I pray that it inspires and it encourages and it fires people's faith on living. And I know when people leave this podcast, they're gonna be like, who is she? Y'all in for a treat, because the page is beautifully aesthetically pleasing and all of the things. I cannot wait until Lashay could come into my space one day and be like, throw the Lashay on it. I don't care. I don't care. If you had a vision in your head that you've been wanting to do and you can't do it, that's what I'm gonna say. Do it.
That makes me feel so good. I would be honored one day to do your
I
space.
know. I can't wait. I can't wait. We
It's
have
coming.
to. I miss you so much. I wish
I
you were
miss
here
you
to like
much.
hug you. I know I'll see you soon.
Yes, we'll definitely catch up soon. But thank
Yeah.
you so much for having me. This was amazing. And I do pray that this podcast continues to reach the world and that it continues to inspire the masses, because there is honestly no better way than for people to really just get an audible of being able to hear and visually
Mhm.
um, hear someone's testimony and have receipts of what the Lord has done. Like, I think what you're doing is amazing, and I pray that you continue to lean into it.
Thank you for saying that, because it's the lean in part. It's the part where we have to, this is all God's will. This is something that He wanted. And I'm just leaning in and being obedient and leaning in on, who He wants on His podcast, because ultimately this is His, to show His glory. Because all of it, your life, my life, Lashay, is all for His glory. It's seeing Him through all. His handprint is on everything, the good, the
Yes.
bad, and the ugly, but really the good, that like I pull these
Mm-hmm.
women out of what they did, what they did, choices that they didn't do,
Right.
and ultimately the glory is at that finish line.
Yes.
So
Love it.
thank you, thank you, thank you,
You
and I
are
will see
welcome.
you soon.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Bye.